Let's stay slow. Creation has learned how to separate, how to gather, how to measure time, how to move. But today, something changes. Not just motion, not just life, awareness. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures after their kind." Animals emerge from the ground itself, not from sky, not from sea, from soil, from dust, from the same matter that'll soon become human. This is important because consciousness doesn't arrive from outside the world, it rises from within it. Beasts, cattle, creeping things, different forms of instinct, different expressions of life. Creation is now fully alive, but it's not yet reflective. And then the text shifts. Something unprecedented happens. And God said, "Let us make the human in our image, after our likeness." Notice the language. Not I, but us. The Zohar tells us this is not God speaking to another God. It's the divine speaking to all of creation, to the elements, to the forces, to the patterns of existence, as if the universe itself is being invited to participate in the making of a being who can see it. The human is not added on top of creation. The human is formed out of it, a mirror made from the world. To be made in the image of God doesn't mean to look like God. It means to become capable of what God does, to perceive, to choose, to create, to bless, to wound, to heal. This is the birth of responsibility. Across cultures, this same moment appears in different language. In ancient Egypt, the heart was weighed against truth, as if consciousness itself must answer for how it shapes the world. In Hindu thought, the self awakens as Atman, not separate from the divine ground of being. In Buddhist teaching, awareness recognizes itself, and with that recognition comes compassion. In Greek philosophy, the human is called the microcosm, a small universe reflecting the large one. Different stories, same realization. The universe learns to look back at itself. And the text says, "Male and female he created them," not two separate creations, one image expressed in polarity. The Zohar reads this as a single being containing both directions of energy, active and receptive, giving and receiving, form and flow, heaven and earth. Only later do these appear as separate bodies. Wholeness comes before division. Relationship comes after. This is echoed everywhere. In Taoist thought, yin and yang arise from one source. In indigenous traditions, balance between forces is sacred. In psychology, we speak of integrating opposites. In art, tension creates beauty. The human soul is not meant to be one-sided. It's meant to hold contrast without collapse. Then comes a dangerous word, dominion. Many have heard this as permission to dominate, but the Zohar hears stewardship, not control, but care, not conquest, but responsibility. To be in the divine image is not to rule over the world, but to answer for it. Your hands shape matter. Your words shape meaning. Your choices shape futures. This is why the text immediately speaks of food, of seeds, of fruit, of sustaining life without violence. Before there is conflict, there's provision. Before there is history, there's harmony. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. Not just good, very good. Because now there is someone who can witness goodness. Across disciplines, this insight returns again and again. In neuroscience, awareness changes what it observes. In physics, the observer affects the system. In poetry, naming brings things into being. In ritual, attention sanctifies. The human doesn't merely live inside creation. The human interprets it, carries it, remembers it. This is both gift and burden, because once awareness appears, suffering becomes possible, choice becomes dangerous, love becomes costly. And yet, without this moment, there would be no meaning, no ethics, no art, no prayer, no regret, no hope. The sixth day is not the end of creation, it's the beginning of accountability. You're not just another creature, you're a creature who can ask, what am I doing with what I've been given? To be made in the divine image is not to be perfect, it's to be capable of becoming. You are both dust and breath, both instinct and insight, both animal and angel. And the work of a lifetime is learning how to hold that tension without tearing the world apart. So, what does this ask of us? It asks us to live as mirrors rather than masters, to treat the world not as property, but as presence. It asks us to recognize that every thought is creative, every word is shaping something, every act is a small echo of the first act of making. The universe has learned how to walk, and now it must learn how to choose. The sixth day doesn't end with rest, it ends with recognition. Creation looks at itself and says, "This is very good," not because it's finished, but because it's awake. Tomorrow there will be silence, a pause, a Sabbath. Not because creation is tired, but because awareness needs space to listen to what it has become. For now, stay with this moment, the moment when dust learns to speak, the moment when breath learns to bless, the moment when the world becomes conscious through you. There was evening, there was morning, the sixth day.